Jean Girock and the Blood Army. In the year 586, Litsu, chief of the Hitz clan, falls at the hands of Lord Vesuvius, who is the chief of the Sargentile clan. Like many other clans, the Hitz clan was at war with the Sargentile clan. After Litsu falls, the next person in the bloodline, Jean Girock, takes command. Immediately, he wipes out the Sargentile clan and kicks them off of planet Kazarak, the Hitz planet home world. Basically, what you have here is, you have Lord Vesuvius, who is angry with Jean Girock taking over because his fighting styles are different than that of Litsu, and it confused his soldiers in battle. He had a hard time coping with this. It really cost him the war, basically. It was so much different. He was used to Litsu's fighting styles and what Litsu did, and then you go to Jean Girock, who is completely the opposite, and it's just too confusing. So Lord Vesuvius kind of fell of his own confusion, and it's really a brilliant thing that was unintentional for the Hitz clan to do for Jean Girock. Many people say good things and bad things of Jean Girock, but one thing is for certain. He did more bad things than he did good, such as designing and creating extermination camps in which he exterminated 100 people a day for 7 weeks. Then creating sex camps where most attractive women were forced to endure sexual experiences they did not intend. Next, kidnapping the chief of the Phoenix clan's daughter and forcing her to do the same. Even though you had a lot of bad things that Jean Girock did, such as the extermination camps and the sex camps, but there was a good thing. First, he did win the war, the long-lasting war, I might add, between the Sargentile clan and the Hitz clan. He did accomplish that, even though it wasn't enough good to right his wrong. In other words, it was a good thing that he did, and he did have a very, very strong war effort, a very strong war front. He captured a quarter of the Phoenix planet and the entire Sargentile planet in 1 year, the same year, and it was rather surprising to most people that the Hitz clan became this powerful. After taking control of the Sargentile planet, the galaxy knew no one greater than Jean Girock. He became very powerful. He was known all across the galaxy. He was a very famous person. He basically got the Hitz clan famous enough to have their own planet name, which is like, instead of planet Kazarak, it was the Hitz planet, which only certain very powerful and very famous clans ever get to do. It was a very, very good experience because the galaxy had never seen someone who had accomplished such. I mean, the two most powerful clans in the galaxy, the Sargentile clan and the Phoenix clan, had both been outwitted by this Jean Girock, and it was a good thing. At the same time, it was a bad thing. It was really sort of a mix. People across the galaxy began to love and hate Jean Girock for his good and his bad. If you look at Jean Girock, he could be like a more like an exterminator, or he could be more like a conqueror. He's both, really. He's conquered many battles, many clans, yet at the same time, he has exterminated people that did not need to die. And in that sort of sense, I guess he was both. I mean, people could love him and hate him, but eventually you're going to have to choose a side, because he's either a good man or a bad man. There's no one who is both. Eventually you're going to have to look at what he did with the Blood Army. Was he went out to villages and clans, killed everyone, took whatever merchandise there was, and burned the village only because he could. Only because he was powerful enough. Not for any other reason. It was just because he was powerful enough to do it. So he did it. And that's a really, really cruel thing to do. Yet, in the same sense, he became so powerful, the Hitz clan became so powerful that they were secure, that people could feel like they're not going to be attacked by another clan and be, killed and taken over and overrun. They could have that sense of security, that they were not going to be attacked and overrun. But at the same time, what if Jean Girock just went out and started killing people in his own city? Jean Girock eventually did the exact same. He went out and killed 40 people in his own city hall. If you look at, Jean Girock as a bad person, which a lot of people do, one thing you could put in your case against him is that he went out and killed 40 people in his own city hall who were just walking around, doing whatever, and he just kills them. He takes 2 guards with him out there, and he just kills them right on the spot for everyone to see. Yet if you would have panicked then and started running around, he would have killed you then. Because Jean Girock hated panicking. Done by anyone. I mean, if you would panic, he would panic, and then he would kill you. He was just very paranoid. He was just, if you panicked, it would make him panic, and when he panics, he kills people. Jean Girock's insecurity with paranoia made the galaxy question whether he is a good leader or not. People began to question his campaign. They began to question whether he was a good leader and he was maybe possibly good enough to maybe be, the galactic president or something. It was rather odd. People were like, if he kills people when he gets nervous, if the galaxy ever comes under attack, if he's the galactic president and he gets nervous, he might kill people in his own city. He might just kill us. No one could feel safe around him, really. He was just he was so paranoid. He could kill anybody at any time. And it really bugged a lot of people, whether they wanted to be under his rule. Eventually, Jean Girock was assassinated by 4 assassins who shot him in the head simultaneously. It was rather weird because there were 4 assassins on each angle of his tower, and they shoot at the exact same time, putting a hole in his head on all 4 sides. In the front, left side, right side, and the back. So when his funeral came around, people looked at his body. It was really weird looking because he had a hole, and on each side of his head. It was really weird, but some people were glad that he fell. Some people were really disappointed that he fell because he was such a powerful man. Jean Girock was buried in the tomb, the base of his most famous statue in City Hall. They had built this statue of him, and they had created this tomb for him at the base of the statue. It was a rather big statue, but the main thing is that he wanted to be buried in something that people would always remember him. So early on in his rule, he had the statue built with the tomb at the base. It's really more of a pride thing. I want to always be remembered. That's what people want to do. They want to be remembered, and it's rather casual. Jean Girock will always be remembered. And you have to kind of honor this thing with Jean Girock. What he did was amazing. It was outstanding. At the same time, he did a lot of things that was really rather evil. So Jean Girock can be looked at from many different viewpoints, but overall he was a very powerful leader.